Hey everyone, it's LIKWID here giving you a warm welcome back or to the channel, and as always I do hope you're doing well today. Now in Monday's video I showed you my very first performance of 2022 with the Virtual Ukrainian SU 27, and I also mentioned in that video that I would be bringing you into the cockpit for Friday's video and taking you through the demo, showing you what's new and showing you what's changed. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. Now, the reason for making a brand new routine in 2022 is because the previous couple of years were basically just evolutions. I had made some small changes last year to the previous year's routine, and I felt like for this year I wanted to wipe that slate clean and have a completely fresh starting point to build a new routine. So as we taxi out onto runway 01 here at Gelendzhik, a very short runway and quite a challenging show site to be honest, but that made it all the fun making this new routine work in quite a small space. So spooling the engines up to 80%, we will then perform the control check, and then it'll be brakes off, full reheat, and get this SU-27 rumbling down the runway. Starting to pull back on the stick, aiming for that 230 kilometers an hour rotation, keeping the aircraft low to the ground for a quick little wing wave before we pass the runway threshold. In the previous demo we looked for 580 kilometers an hour as we passed that threshold of the runway before pulling up into a loop. However, at this challenging show site we were looking for 520 and a bit more of an aggressive pull on the stick, pulling a maximum of 5G. And you can see as we head back down towards the show box, going to line up the aircraft with the show line, just maintaining that pull on the stick. And then the 270 degree rotation, and we will continue to pull the aircraft round to the right, looking for all these small boats and the shoreline markers to make sure we are heading back towards the correct position, and it's going to be an inverted pass. Looking for the shoreline then, and then just rolling the aircraft smoothly over to begin the inversion. As you can see, still no track IR yet. My track IR still has not arrived. So we're still using the hat on the joystick to look around. Coming back into the show box, following the show line, and we perform the minimum radius turn, maintaining a nice smooth pull on the stick as we come back towards the show box. Keeping the turn going to offset us 45 degrees from the show site, and that's going to give us a nice smooth reposition from the other side. Once again, making use of the boats that are in the bay area here as well as the show markers to ensure we're coming back towards the show centre. Pitching up into the 4-point roll, which can be a bit tricky in the SU-27, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to add it in, because I felt it was a nice dynamic and a nice change. So we go back up and over the top then, afterburners ablaze, those Saturn AL31 engines powering us up into the sky. Now this is where we're going to rotate the aircraft. We're going to look for those show markers to make sure we are directly on show centre. You see one just out in the water there. We're going to continue that gentle slow right and then pull straight. Now my safety altitude for the tail slide is anything above 1000 meters, so you can see as I approach that I cut the throttle. Throttles are at idle and we maintain this angle. This is about the most extreme angle you can get away with, without the SU-27 wanting to do the death flip on you. So going just slightly beyond vertical for a moment there, as you can see, you do have to be quick with the pullback. Now we start to raise the nose and increase the angle of attack as we deploy the air brake to slow the aircraft down as we move into the slow high alpha pass. This time there's no gear down, there's no flaps down, it is just purely the air brake out. And we're looking for a minimum speed of 200 kilometers, and we want to keep it between 200 to 220, maintaining an angle of attack of 20 degrees. So as the air brake begins to retract, we maintain a nice smooth turn, pulling away from the showbox and once again using these bolts in the bay as markers. Now coming up next is the Cobra. As you can see, I'm using this building as a reference point, which is going to line us up beautifully as long as we turn behind the building and bring us in nicely on that shoreline. Target speed for the Cobra is 420 kilometers, and we're looking to pull the stick back as we approach that show center point. DSC is disabled. And there's the pull. Now we're looking for 450 kilometers on the HUD before we pull the aircraft up and over the top, so we don't run the risk of being too slow on top. Once again rolling into a similar reposition as we used for the tail slide. However, we're going to continue up for the brand new manoeuvre for this year, and that is the Twister. We maintain a similar angle of the tail slide, but we continue beyond 2000 meters, and I actually climbed way beyond my safe height here. However, at 270 kilometers, we push the right engine forward, and after counting 1, we rotate the stick to the right, and then pull back. This creates a twisting motion of the aircraft in midair deploying flares, and as we pull back, the aircraft then goes flat on top, and we transition into a flat spin. As you can see, the flat spin continues for quite some time because I did have quite a lot of extra altitude. And we're a little bit further out than planned, but that's okay because we're just going to chuck on the burners, get those AL-31s firing and bring the aircraft back towards the showbox and continue the demo. And as we hit that marker, a little 270 degree reposition to bring us back in from show right. This is going to be the Knife Edge Pass, which was something I introduced last year, which pays tribute to all those serving in the Ukrainian Air Force and those who have served as well. Once again, making use of asymmetric thrust by using the left engine at a higher power setting to keep that aircraft almost on the knife edge. And as we continue on, once again pulling the stick a little bit harder this time because we want to slow that aircraft down as we're going to go for the fake landing here. Now this is something else that was lifted from the real life demonstration and something that I wanted to add in for this year. So the air brake out, gear and flaps down, the air brake will retract, and we are looking for 280 kilometers before we start to plug in the burners once again, pull that aircraft up and perform a dirty roll. Now the difference between doing it this way and the way the real life pilots would do it is we don't pull up at such a steep angle. And then as we position ourselves once again coming back in from show right, it's going to be the spiral flare finale. I could not leave that one out for this year. So coming back in towards the show site, pulling up, afterburners ablaze, and getting ready to deploy every last flare that we have remaining in the jet. Maintaining a little forward pressure on the stick to hold the aircraft in the vertical and to keep that spiral in a nice straight line. And there we go, coming up and over the top. Gives us a chance to look at our handiwork. So bringing out the air brake once again just to slow the aircraft down as we pass by the show site one last time, ready to give everybody a wing wave to say a huge thank you for the support. It's massively appreciated. And I really hope you've enjoyed this run through. It gives you a chance to see what the demo looks like from the cockpit, and it also gives you the chance to see Gelendzhik as a site itself for this virtual airshow. Once I had finished putting together the 2022 routine and began practicing it, obviously I would normally practice at Kutaisi. I did spawn in an SU-27 here at Gelendzhik, and I looked at the site and thought, this show site is going to be quite tricky. But that's one of the great things about flying at sites that I've never done before. It does give you that challenge of fitting in a routine at an airfield where you basically have not flown at before, and that brings a lot of enjoyment. But yeah, once again recovering back here at runway 01, we will maintain the aero braking with the air brake out. Because we have such a short runway, we can't hold the aircraft's nose in the air for too long before deploying the parachutes and pulling on the brakes. But we do stop in plenty of time to make a nice smooth exit onto the taxiway. And there we go, onto the taxiway, safely back at Gelendzhik. First show of 2022, done and dusted. So yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this demo. I really hope you've enjoyed the run through. It's great to bring you into the cockpit and talk you through the demo. If you have any questions about the new routine, anything at all, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. And all that's left for me is to say a massive thanks to you for watching. I will catch you in the next video, but until then, This is LIKWID, signing off.